I was failing at life as a teenager and I had no idea. Looking back, I made a ton of mistakes, habits that were holding me back and things I didn't just know. But once I learned one key lesson, everything started to change. The best part, you don't have to make those same mistakes. In this video, I'll share the one thing I wish I knew as a teen, so you can avoid the same traps I fell into and start moving forward sooner, not faster. Now, let me start from where I could trace all this back to and say that was kind of like that starting point. I was in the fourth year of my high school or secondary school in Nigeria, and at that point you had to pick which direction you were going to, career wise. I liked cars, so everyone around me was like, then Ibube is just going to be, they called me Ibube, Ibube is just going to be a mechanical engineer or someone that handles cars. I just felt cars in one way or the other is involved. Got into the science part. I didn't like the physics, I didn't like the chemistry, I didn't like those science subjects. I didn't even like biology, was even the worst. But I just had to tell myself that, it's mechanical engineering I'm going to do. There's nothing else, so I just have to find a way to just keep on going and keep on moving, which I did. And at that time, I also had a girlfriend, which I thought, to be honest, if someone asked me if that was going to be my wife one day, I would have said for sure. Then I graduated from secondary school or high school. And at that point, it kind of felt, I don't know how the best way for me to explain it to you guys. It felt like I didn't necessarily know where I was going to end up, but I kind of felt like there was this pathway that was already made and I just needed to keep on following it, which led into me going to the university, and I picked a course called mechatronics engineering. So there was a time my dad used to sell cars. We had this client, he saw me the way I was, doing some things in the car, maybe I think inside the car. It was like, oh wow, he said something about mechatronics engineering. Ever since that day, it just stuck in my head. Car, mechatronics engineering makes sense. I went to university, that's the course I picked. I went to the course, I was doing the course, and I was just like, gosh, what did I get myself into? But like I said, I kept on with the thought of, I want to, the car, I just have to go through it. I kept on going. I was still in a relationship, by the way. And then after the first semester, I think it was the December break, I came back. On the day I came back from school, because I was kind of, doing stupid stuff all through the relationship that kind of started building up. And at that point, I think that was when it really, hit it. That day I came back from school was the day of, let's say, our anniversary of being together. I got home that day, I was excited to get home. So I was in school, I was like, wow, okay, we're going home finally. And, I was chatting with her that day. There was this, I could sense something was wrong, but I couldn't just figure what it was. But I just felt, maybe it's one of those days. I got home, and later that night, I think I went out and she sent a text, something about forgetting the anniversary. And I was like, boy, I messed up. I just felt like, goodness, I don't think I can get away with this. Because honestly, before then, I started feeling that it is going to end someday. I didn't know when. Most likely, it wasn't going to be me that's going to end it, but it's going to happen soon. So the day it happened, it was just like, I can't even explain it. Because there was a classmate I had that said, you will cry when this relationship ends. And I've noticed I kind of take things unconsciously as a challenge in my brain. That day, I'm like, hell no, I am not crying. And how I feel that impact was, it wasn't like, the immediate impact of the breakup happened and I just feel down immediately. It was like this, smooth process of it happening. I dated her for I think 3 years. I don't know if any of you have gone through a breakup before, especially if you've dated someone for that long. But boy, it started, dawning on me, because usually she was the person I talked to a lot. I didn't really talk to any other person. She was like the main person every single day. Ha ha ha. So once she left, it just felt like there was this open void. I went back to school in January. School had resumed. Still getting used to it. I would end a school day, be on my bed, nothing, nobody to chat with, nobody to talk to. I was sleeping earlier than usual. Then, still dealing with that, some form of happiness came. I was traveling out of the country permanently, at least for the meantime, which was to where I am now, Canada. I was just like, wow, this is amazing. This is brilliant, because before then, I've never traveled outside Nigeria before. But I still had to, keep on going to school because we're not entirely sure. When I resumed back on January, we had already gotten the ticket. And I was like, boy, that is confirmed. But what kept me in school basically that time was I had a business I was running. Then one day, I was told I'm not meant to be doing that in school and different things like that. That week, I just called my dad, please, I'm going home. I don't know what I'm doing in this place. The impact that breakup had just grew and picked up an intensity, because in school, I had classes, I had assignments, I had things to do, sports, but I got home, nothing to do. Because of that, it just felt like I didn't have anything I was doing myself. So that's if the impact just kept on getting, mine didn't come out, in crying form. You will notice from my lifestyle, it was hitting me. At one point, it kind of got better. I saw this, free platform you could learn courses on. I went there, I saw the Excel course, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's something I can try. I tried that. I was really learning it really well. I was enjoying it, by the way. My mom had a school, so I transferred the knowledge into helping her with her own school finance. That basically was a small transition from, helping me not drain in that, breakup mindset. Then, one day, I think I was watching something, and my mom gave me I don't know if it was a motivational video, but it was a Winnie Opera video for I think 30 minutes. I listened to that, and boy, oh boy, I don't know what exactly happened, but I felt something was activated in me. Then this event from our church now followed up, because it was just funny how this whole thing happened. Break up, the whole career school drama. I got back home, the motivational video, then that event. It was called the Digital Leadership Academy for Teens. I went through that, and it's as if my mind was just opened to the possibilities of what I could do with myself. And at the last day of that event, I met one of the speakers, and I don't know, I can't remember what I told him, but he gave me a book, which was the first ever book I read in my life. And the book, it was a digital copy. It was How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. I got into the reading habit. I started reading, started learning. I traveled to Canada, got in, so it took us a kind of a while to balance. Then I wanted to go to high school to kind of get used to, so that I will not just jump into the university here, which that was another thing that I really appreciate that I actually did. I did that for I think the first semester, and towards the end, I was watching Mangazi's content, so he was having some of events that were clashing times in my class, and I'll pick the event over the class. Then over time, I noticed that I was just doing my own stuff, come to school, I was not attending my classes again. I think at that point, it started to occur to me gradually that, basically the whole main lesson I'm, trying to talk about here is, I I realized that, my life, or how my life is, for some of you, how my life isn't or might not be my fault, but it is my responsibility. I was always the person with that relationship I had. I would always point fingers. It is you. It is you. It is you. If you look at it, when you point, it is you. Look at these fingers. Where are they pointing to? Back to you. What does that tell you? Before you point your hand at someone else, ask yourself, what did I do to contribute to whatever has played out? So now high school is done, university is next. Started thinking, okay, what do you want to do? I checked. I almost registered to apply for mechanical engineering, but I stopped. Then I started to ask myself, I like cars. Yes. Do I want to build cars? No. Do I want to work on cars? No. Then I'm like, what am I now doing in mechanical engineering? Like, I don't know. And I said, I now went on this path of trying to figure out what my life or future is going to be like. And I told you before, I was beginning to get into this whole accounting vibe. I got into the accounting. I was like, okay, maybe accounting could be it. And I almost applied to that. And I stopped again. And I'm like, am I sure I want to do this? After a while, I just became lazy with the whole school process. Then to top it off, and I had to, because I had to get a school loan to be able to go. That was the main excuse I used for not going to, for a good while of time. I was like, I don't want to get a student loan, so I'm not going. The thing was, will I eventually go? No, but it was just a good excuse at that time I saw to just use. My mom would be like, hey, my son is not, she was not, I try and explain. She was just, she was okay, understanding. My dad was the hardest to even convince. I don't know, it's as if my life at some point, I started embracing struggles compared to before. What just kept going in my head is, I will tell this story one day. I think one particular day, I got the idea to do a video of myself, because I noticed I started picking up this knowledge of, the books I was reading, I started talking about it to just people around me. But then I thought of, okay, why don't I do a video about seeing something like this? Then the first time I was like, you know what, I'll just leave it, not bother myself about it. Then later, I think there was one night I was about to sleep. I think that was a Saturday night. The idea just kept on, I could not sleep, it just kept on hitting me to video. I was like, video care. I'm like, okay. I took up, I think, my phone. I just set up at the dining table, and I just did a rough video. I was in my nightgown, just like I'm talking to camera, and I watched it with my mom. My mom was like, oh, okay. The next day was when I shot my first video, but I didn't put it on YouTube. I didn't even open YouTube. I didn't even know all these things are even possible. I just posted it on my WhatsApp status, my Instagram. I was getting the first video. A lot of people were like, wow. People were like, oh wow. They were liking what I was doing. So then I think I now created a YouTube channel, and I started uploading on YouTube. That's how my whole YouTube channel started. I started investing in myself in YouTube, investing myself in other areas. And basically, look at me now. I started posting on YouTube, I think 8 months ago. And look at me now. Who would have thought? Basically, the takeaway I just want you guys to learn from this is that if I ask myself, do I regret the breakup? Do I regret the jobless time at home? Do I regret all those things? My answer is no. And I want you guys to note something. Whatever you might have gone through, I don't really know it, because we are all different. Some of you might even be worse than mine. Mine is just a breakup. Some, their parents left them. Some, they ended up in prison somehow. I feel my story is never even as good as some people's story. And that's what I want you to take away from this. Sometimes I feel, because I don't really share all these things on my videos, But I feel my story is not as good as some of you stories. Some of you story, if you start to really sit down and really analyze everything looking back, you would have a better story than me. And who doesn't like a better story? But one thing I just wanted to see that, whatever happened before, I know it might hurt you. You might not have liked what had happened. But it has happened. But I want you to think of it like this. If you maybe had that dad you've always wanted, if you had that mom you've always wanted, if you had that family you've always wanted, if you had that upbringing you thought you needed, would you be where you are today? And I want you to really look at yourself honestly and ask yourself that question. Would you trade not having those things for having, that so-called good life you thought you wanted? For me personally, I would say no. I would say no. I won't change the breakup. I won't change the experiences I've had. I won't change any single thing, because I know that all those is what has brought me here today to actually be doing this video for you guys. So I want you now to make that choice today and say, all this has happened, but I am going to keep on going. I am going to move forward. I'm going to start sooner, and I'm not going to expect things to happen fast. But basically, I'll just focus on myself, the consistency to keep on building and keep on growing. Now that you've learned the one thing that changed everything for me as a teen, here's how you can take it to the next level and start now. Click the video on the screen now and I'll show you how to build discipline so fast it feels illegal. Remember, the path is yours to walk, and as always, I'm in your corner and I'm rooting for you.